After over 25 years of marriage, we've learned that successful couples have great friendships, put each other first, and focus on light just as much as love. We believe marriage should be fun and easy.
Our goal is to share our journey with the hopes of helping others build strong, happy relationships. Join us as we continue to create our lives beyond I do.
We are not marriage counselors, nor are we mental health professionals. We are simply sharing what has worked in our marriage. Now, on to the show.
Hey y'all, I'm Margaret.
And this is Byron.
And we'd like to welcome you back to the Beyond I Do podcast.
In this episode, we will discuss the topic that most people are scared to discuss with their partner, and that is weight. Uh-oh. According to the stats from 2018, about 40% of American adults are obese. Obesity increases the chance of health issues such as heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and certain types of cancer. In this episode, we will be discussing weight gain and weight-related issues in relationships.
All right, so we're going to begin at the beginning.
Yep.
Just like our first episode, how it starts.
Yep.
So according to a blog post on henryford.com called Why Couples Gain Weight and Tips for Reversing the Trend, new relationships cause individuals to stretch boundaries and overlook healthy habits.
Mm-hmm.
They list 5 new relationship behaviors that can lead to weight gain. So those 5 behaviors: eating out more frequently, drinking more alcohol, spending less time exercising, changing your eating habits, probably not for the best, and being less concerned about your appearance. So you get comfortable with a relationship. You are no longer in seeking mode. You have found your person, and apparently you and your person
let it all go.
You and your person spend time just eating and drinking and being merry.
Yeah, I can see the eating out more frequently causing the issue, because everywhere you go now, the plates are on average $13 to $20, and they tend to be full. You know, you'll get like 2 entrees, 2 sides. Of course, they fill you up with bread from the beginning.
Yep.
You know, that bread be good, man, with that butter. Oh my God. No matter where we go, it's like, I try to stay away from the bread because I'm type 2 diabetic, but boy,
I tell
it
you,
ain't hard now.
I tell you too, to go back and pull from our childhood habits that have been developed into adulthood, and one that you struggled with is the idea of cleaning your plate.
Yes. Oh,
so
yes,
you talk
yes,
about
yes,
we
yes.
go to restaurants, the portions are larger, and for you, I know that has been an issue throughout our relationship.
Yep.
I remember in the beginning, there would be times when we'd go out to eat, and like you were visibly uncomfortable that you were so full, but then you would keep eating, and finally you were like,
I did it today.
In condition
I did it today.
Clean my plate.
I did it today. The restaurant we went to, we had the chicken fingers.
Shout out to the Feed Set.
Yes.
We went to the North Augusta location, and they are phenomenal.
Yes.
The Aiken location, phenomenal. We are so lucky to have one close by us now.
Yes.
But the food is phenomenal, and you want to...
Chicken fingers was the bomb.
Yes, they are.
It was good.
Everything that we've had from there, I've been impressed with.
Yeah.
So,
and I had the stone grits.
That sidebar, my bad.
I had the stone grits and the chicken tenders, and I just wanted to eat all my chicken tenders. I felt like because we went to the gym and worked out. Our first time in probably, how long? What, a month?
You just tell all our secrets.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for.
Well, it was our first time going to the gym.
You've been working out on the treadmill.
But I thank you.
Yeah, you've been treadmill.
I have been on the treadmill.
I have.
And then, of course, when you go out to eat, you might have a drink with your food, kind of mellow the mood and whatnot. And that's the alcohol. Yep. And then because you want to be booed up and laid next to that person, you skip those gym days. Yep. Or you just get comfortable. Like I said, you're no longer in search mode. You've calmed down. So you get comfortable and less concerned with those things. And it's easy to fall into those habits. And we've learned, now that it's been over 20 years, we've learned that those things come and go. Those the desire to do those things come and go. And now, though, I think our goals have shifted because we've gotten older. But, that's another discussion for another day.
Yeah, we'll start going to the doctor a little more. And doctor start giving you these numbers that you've never heard before. Like, wait a minute, what? Wait a minute. What? Like, it was a couple of months ago, my first time ever hearing from the doctor that I could be possibly... Well, the first time my blood pressure was high. And he was like, well, you need to get that down. He said, I'd like to get 2 readings before I stick you on blood pressure medicine. And I was like, okay. So I was like, got to work on that. And my next visit, my blood pressure was down. The visit after that, which was a couple of weeks ago, my blood pressure's been down. So I'm fighting to stay off of that stuff. But and not there's anything wrong with it. I just,
Well, and
the less medicine's possible.
I've been on blood pressure medicine for a while now, but that's something that runs in my family. Yeah. And
mine too, because most of my family members, most of my siblings have it.
I think that the stress is more of an issue for me than the food part with that. And so stress and genetics kind of played into that one for me. But so those are the reasons that a lot of times in a relationship you have these your weight can get out of hand. So now what are some things that we can do to start undoing those things?
So now what? The post goes on to provide couples with some ways to begin building healthy habits together. You can start by making a weekly meal plan. Make date nights more than a meal out. Maybe doing some different activities. Exercise together. Those are some things you can do. And definitely a healthier sleep routine.
Yeah.
And just support each other in reaching those wellness goals.
Yeah.
The individual wellness goals that you might have.
So one thing that I think is a struggle for us is the schedule difference.
Yeah.
I've noticed that, like today, we were able to, and this week really, we're able to work out. If we decide to work out, I have a little bit more control over what we eat. Yeah. Versus when, if I cook something and that's what you eat as your main meal and you go to work, you still have your snacks and things.
Yeah.
Now, we've tried to incorporate some healthier snacks for you then, but I have a little more control when your schedule and my schedule kind of sync together. And it's definitely easier. I think that's been one struggle throughout. Because for me, I'm a jump all in type person. Whereas for you, you're take things, a step at a time. Yep. And so if it were up to me and I had control over it, I would change our eating habits and all of that like in one fell swoop. But I can't do that without having to make separate meals for everybody. I say for everybody. Right now it's only 3 of us, but yeah, it's just it's a difficult thing.
I know for me, and I here it is using my schedule again. But it's hard to commit to something because of the way that I work rotating shifts. And there'll be those nights when I'm working and I'm not at home. And yeah, you can come home, you can start cooking, but depending on, the time frame it takes to prepare the meal, it may not be ready, or, and that's when I'll take leftovers or I'll pick up, something small. I've done better, a little bit better as far as on nights, not eating a whole lot.
We've also found some healthier things for you to snack on.
Yeah.
Like you get the those air pop things instead of chips or something like that.
Yeah.
It's difficult, and I know that one of the things that with weight loss, because anybody who has struggled with their weight obsessively, you know all the stuff. So for me, I know that boredom eating is a thing. And when you're at work, I know that comes into play. So we've tried to find healthier alternatives for you.
Yeah, and that's what, I was talking to the guys at work one day, and I was like, it's amazing, like when I'm at home and I'm off, I don't feel the need to eat.
Yep.
And sometimes I might go, 3 or 4 o'clock and realize, like, man, I haven't eaten. Now, I've gotten hungry during that time, but depending on what I'm doing, it's like, well, I don't want to stop right now, so I stop later.
Right.
And then it's like, when I'm at work, it's like, well, shoot, sitting in this control room and watching these screens. And it's like, well, I need to snack on something. And it's I guess it's like, training the mind to think differently.
Right. And I know for you, with your schedule, that's a big thing for you. You plan a lot around your schedule and based on your schedule. So that's a big thing for you. But for me, like I said, I've struggled with my weight from the time I was a teenager. I have struggled with or obsessed over weight loss, weight gain, and those things.
Looking back on it, I know I've struggled over time and not really thought about it much. But I was listening to Steve the other day, radio show, and he was saying, everybody, you look in the mirror, you looking straight ahead, you look thin, you look good. But he said, if you really want to get the real, turn to the side.
And we're not even going to talk about how that messes up an outfit when you turn to the side and look.
Just turn to the side. It'll tell you the truth.
Or I have found that a picture is truly worth 1,000 words, most of which are probably wordy dirts, based on the difference between what I see in the mirror and then what the camera captures.
What the hell?
But the thing about it is, with weight loss and being healthy, I think it's easier when everybody is on board.
Yeah.
It's just difficult to get everybody on the board when, like I said, your schedule and my schedule. The summers are always easier because I'm home, and that means that when you're home, I'm home. We can control better, what we eat. We go and work out, and during this, like, I'm in the gym. During the summer. Once school starts, it's like that's better for me in terms of eating and having a routine. But I still haven't figured out how to get the gym in a way that's easy. So that's when my gym time falls off during the summer. During the school year. Luckily, we have the treadmill now, so I can get to it and at least get on that. But with my hours now, it's like if I have to be there at 7, so getting up in the morning, that's my lofty goal. Yes, is to go in the morning.
Very lofty goal.
To get it over with. And then by the time I get off at 3 o'clock, if I were to come home, change, and then head to the gym, get to the gym about 3:30, that's when people start really coming. And you know, I don't.
Yeah, you don't like the crowds. Yeah.
That's right. I don't like being there when it's a crowd. So I struggle with that, and that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, and I probably could go more when I'm off. And it's like, you know, here lately I've had some off days and I just been like, just gonna lay around. But I think now, after going today, I'm a little more determined to pick up that routine again.
Yeah.
You know, just get back to it because, you know, got some body parts that's looking a little flabby. And I did that turn to the side one day and I was like, hold up, player.
I feel better when I go also. Now, feel better mentally and emotionally. Mm-hmm. Physically, I'm usually pouting the whole time.
Now, I tell you something that the gym did that kind of messed me up today. You know, my special machines I like to work out on. Mm-hmm. They done turned them bitches to the side. And when you look at that long mirror, you see that side view while you working out, and it's like, oh God.
Oh my goodness.
What is you doing sitting here? So you see that, you know.
And it's always, and it's funny because you get uncomfortable, I get uncomfortable and self-conscious in the gym. Mm. But those people are not worried about you.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're not worried. But me, looking at me,
no, I mean, that's me telling myself that also.
On that machine, like when I worked out on that machine, I had that yellow shirt on, and I was just going, pulling my weights down. I'm like, and I look over to the left, and I'm like, I see this big yellow blob on the mirror on the wall. I'm like, what the hell? And then I'm looking, and then when I get done, I'm like, God dog, boy.
I see, and what for me, it's like I go in, I'm working out, I'm feeling so good, and then I come home and I gotta shower and put regular clothes back on. Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is still fitting the same way it did the last time I wore it. Yep. But I just went to work out. I was supposed to leave some of this.
Yep.
So it's definitely a struggle, especially as we get older.
Definitely.
I know the one tip about dates and having date nights that are not necessarily food related.
Yeah.
I know for us, we've gone out a couple of times here lately, but food is always. It's always somewhere in there. Yep. So that's something to work on.
That's that guilty pleasure.
Or either just making better choices while we are there. Yeah. We have gotten good with, we don't do dessert. We drink water when we go. Yeah, so we have made some changes.
Between the dessert and water, that's $20.
We're saving, right. If y'all didn't know, he's very... price conscious. We'll call it that. We'll say that instead of cheap.
I'm cheap. Hell, I ain't got no problem. Let that be known. I'm cheap.
But in addition to saving money, it does help too because I'm not a big water drinker. But over the past few years, you know, that's mainly what I drink.
Yeah, you've done a good job with that.
I've stopped drinking a lot of caffeine. I have my my matcha now, but with meals I drink water. Every now and then we've been on a ginger ale kick here lately, so I may have ginger ale. I definitely have cut back on caffeine.
I know I used to drink those Coke Zeros like crazy.
You did, and you have cut back on those. There's another thing I'd like for you to cut back on, but
I know them energy drinks. Yes. You know, and it's like
you had cut back at one point, but it's picked up again.
I still don't drink them as much as I used to.
You don't, but
you know, I went from 3 to 4 a day to maybe 2 a day, if that. You know.
And I will give you do try to. I know they have the quote unquote healthier ones, the Celsius, and you will get like the sugar free and things like that.
Try to
so
get zero sugar
you do try to balance it some, but that's something that we'll work on.
Yeah.
I know I had, if any of you have heard of the 75 hard challenge, I didn't even think to attempt that because I don't do hard, not like that. No. But we had seen some that were modified, and we are looking to attempt one of those at some point.
We need to look back at that.
Probably. We do. It's just hard to help keep each other accountable if, with the work schedule and things. But it's coming together. Yeah. It's coming together.
And another thing, too, is, adopting a healthy sleep routine.
Yes.
That's a fight.
That's a fight for you.
Yeah.
Well, I mine is just getting in bed at a decent time.
Yeah.
But once I'm in bed and I'm asleep, and I value my sleep, so.
I mean, I value it too, but that brain be going, and I mess around, and if I get to sleep good, it's like, okay, I'm good to sleep. And then I sleep with this CPAP machine every now and then, and I don't know how it happens, but I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I feel like it's choking me almost, and I take it off. Or sometimes I don't even realize it's off.
I'm not touching you
till the middle of the night, till I wake up. And then sometimes I'll wake up and go use the bathroom, and then it's hard to go back to sleep because that old mind start racing on what I got to do that day. Mm-hmm. So that's
it's like a baby. You know how you have a toddler that's asleep. Maybe you fall asleep with the toddler's sleeping in bed with you, and y'all fall asleep, and then you wake up and the child is looking at you. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel sometimes. I wake up and you're sitting up on your iPad.
Yep, that's me.
Well, we know that it's a struggle, especially as we get older, but we're making those small changes to do better because it's more important now. The stakes are higher for us as we get older. And even though we are growing older, we still have a lot of life left to live. So I want to live it at our best and fullest potential.
That's right.
All right.
Baby, we need to talk.
Huh?
Now, let's discuss it. Alright, for our Let's Discuss It, we like to talk about 7 do's and don'ts for talking to a loved one about weight loss.
You and those
Boy, I'm scared of this one. But anyway. Point number 1, do ask for permission. If you're concerned about the effects of weight loss to a loved one, ask them for permission to discuss it. I can't think of a good time to ask about anything like that.
It's an uncomfortable conversation. Even with us, there are some things, like I mentioned earlier, the energy drinks.
Yeah.
And so there's a fine line between verbalizing my concern and then just being a nag. And I don't want to be a nag because they're not the best thing for you. So it's no need for me to continuously reiterate that.
So wait a minute, how does it sound? So baby, I need to ask your permission to talk about your weight.
Well,
whoa.
Okay, first of all, I wouldn't say to talk about I'd say I have some things I want to talk. I have some concerns about our eating habits or how I tried to bring myself into it because that kind of lessens it, and you don't want to feel attacked.
Definitely don't bring it up to say let's talk about let's talk about our
our health habits and things like that.
Yes.
Which brings us to number 2. Don't say you should go on a diet.
Ooh.
First of all, you can usually assume that someone who is struggling with their weight has already tried different diets or different plans and things like that.
Yeah.
So instead of making that suggestion, then you can maybe ask, what have you tried? Or have you heard of this? Or I've tried this, or let's try this.
Yeah.
I think is always, like I said, I always try to soften things by including myself because we struggle with some of the same things. So
yeah, and definitely come from a place of love.
Yep.
Emphasizing about health more so than looks. I think health is definitely more important because we are in that stage where people tend to start going down, but we want to go up, or maintain ourselves as long as we can in a healthier condition. And so I think, coming from that angle is always a safe space.
Right.
Hey, I'm concerned about your health. Are you taking your medication? That goes to all those questions because you want to be, and it helps to have that kind of relationship to where when you go to the doctor or I go to the doctor, we tell each other, okay, the doctor said this. And I don't feel the problem. I don't have a problem telling you, well, doctor said I got high blood pressure or, this time, and we want to monitor that. And we'll discuss those things. And
I think it's easier for us to discuss those things because we have created a safety in discussing it with each other. I can come to you and tell you, what the scale said to me and how I didn't like it, or
I can do that too.
I ate this and I don't like how I feel after eating it. So because we've created that safety between us with communicating about things like that, I think it helps.
Yes.
So it's still uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, it's uncomfortable.
But it's safer. It feels safer and it feels like a place coming from a place of love. Don't say, are you gonna eat all that? We don't police food and we don't food shame. I know. So tying into another thing, the whole idea of a wife fixing a man's plate. You have never wanted me to fix your plate. And that's probably because I probably don't put enough on it. But I don't question what you are going to eat or how much you're going to eat unless it's something that you have expressed discomfort about or something like that. Like from time to time we'll get food and you will order enough to have leftovers for work. I know that, so if you get 3 pieces of chicken instead of 2, I'm not going to say you don't need 3 pieces of chicken, you just need 2. I know that you're taking some for lunch. So we don't food police, we don't food shame.
Yeah, that's not a you gonna eat all that?
That's not a productive way to. I can
almost hear my mama saying that coming back from the dead. Like, you gonna eat all that?
No, she wouldn't. She would. She fixed the plates though.
Yeah, she did.
She fixed heavy-handed plates because her thing with me was I would fix my plate and she'd say, "You fixing that for the kids? You fixing that for one of the kids?" No, man, this is my plate. That's how you gonna eat. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's all you gonna eat. All right. And do say, how can I help?
Yeah. Share responsibility. Yep.
making healthier choices.
That I think is a big thing. It just makes it easier when it's not just one person feeling like, especially if you feel like you are having to deny yourself or withhold certain things or monitor certain things.
Right.
It already feels bad enough to withhold those things from yourself or to make those changes sometimes. So if everybody is on board, at least you have support there.
Yep.
Our next don't automatically compliment a loved one's weight loss. And that one is one that takes a little more conscious thought, because sometimes weight loss is not necessarily from a good thing.
Right.
Sometimes you may call attention to weight loss and it may be due to illness or stress. Now, I remember at one point I lost 50 pounds one school year. And I didn't realize, because in the midst of it, I was just stressed. I was upset. And I knew that, like, I would put my clothes on and I would walk around throughout the day holding my pants with one hand. And one of my coworkers pointed it out to me and was like, "You need a belt. You've lost so much weight." And it just, in the midst of it, I didn't think about it. You know, come to think, one of my other colleagues lost 90 pounds that year.
Oh, really?
If nothing else, that particular administrator helped us on our weight loss goals.
Yeah.
If nothing else. But anywho, for me, that was a very stressful time. And it wasn't like I was trying to lose the weight. Now, the flip side of that is I welcomed it. I welcomed it and I wore it well.
Without all the pain and agony and the stress.
Right. It was like I felt like at least I got something from it that was a benefit. But you have to be mindful of things like that. And we've seen some cases with celebrities who the media and people would make comments about their appearances, and then we find out later that there are illnesses involved.
Right, yeah.
It's tacky for one, but for two, you just never know a situation, so it's best to be mindful of those comments.
Yep, which almost ties into our last point. Is pay attention to the timing of the conversation.
Yep.
Now, when we all happy-go-lucky and we're having a good time, that ain't the time to bring it up.
That's not the time to question.
Definitely not around other people.
Right. Right.
That kind of creates a definite defense.
Yep.
For the other individual, and definitely not when your partner's feeling vulnerable.
Right.
When is the good time to bring it
up? In private.
Yeah.
When it is the two of you, when you are in a safe place and there's an ease with which the conversation starts.
Yeah.
And then like the previous tip said, you make it's what can we do together to make things better.
Right, yeah.
Instead of finger pointing and making making your partner feel like you are nagging or criticizing them.
Yeah, definitely. I think the main thing I take from all this is when I think about, we tend to look at celebrities and entertainers. The media will post their great weight loss, or this is a thing that they're doing. But we got to remember that for the most part, a good bit of these entertainers have hired people who are securing those meals. I'm sure that, everybody loves to talk about Beyonce and how she's lost all that baby weight. But Beyonce has a chef that's cooking her healthier meals and preparing them for with her busy lifestyle. So we have to remember that.
Trainers.
And not to think that, don't get down on yourself because you're not, I just had a baby and it's been 3 months and I ain't lost nothing. You know, you don't get down on yourself in those situations, because it's easy to feel bad looking at other people. You just have to follow your own journey.
You have to act your wage.
That definitely too.
Because if I had the resources to have someone cook for me, to have a personal trainer to work out with me and tailor that workout, I promise you I would act a little bit funny. I'd act a little funny.
Would be, yeah. It'd be easier for it to fall off.
It would be, and I would act a little funny.
When you're doing things on your own, it's a little bit different.
It's a lot bit different, apparently. Apparently, it's a whole lot different, because here we sit with my high blood pressure, your type 2 diabetes.
Yep.
And all this Dunlap and belly between us.
I need to hit that lotto, man, so I can hire me a chef and get it right.
There you go. And when I do, I'm going to act a little funny. Yes, I'm going to act a little funny.
Okay. I might too,
You don't even know how to act funny. You're the nice one.
Well, I think about, I still had a picture on my phone when we was in Vegas and we did the driving experience. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to climb my way out of that. I drove faster,
by the way, but go ahead.
But when I was trying to climb my way out of that Lamborghini, and I was like, yeah, that ain't gonna look right.
It won't.
Even if I have, the money to buy one of them, I still won't look. I need to thin out to look right, pull it out of that Lamborghini.
I don't know. I might act funny with that too, because I can be chunky and in a Lamborghini and still pull it off, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I think I can be chunky in a Lamborghini.
I'm just saying,
Either way, I'd act funny. That's what I do.
Yeah. I mean, it can happen. It can happen.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Beyond I Do podcast.
Please join us next time and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And also the Beyond I Do podcast website, www.beyondido.com.
All right.
Till next time, we will holler at y'all.